Hello and welcome into the show. I have got this thing playing on two different streams here, and it's driving me crazy. I am Preston Poole alongside Tyler Adams, who's having some issues today. But you know what? We'll power through and get over this. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the snow from inside your homes and not having been out and about driving around, which I don't think it was too bad earlier driving around, but probably going to get worse here tonight as everything freezes over. But we've got college football playoff game tonight, T-Bag. We've got Thunder from last night. They dropped one in Cleveland to the Cavs. We've got the Cotton Bowl tomorrow as well on a Friday, and then we've got a whole bunch of NFL playoff games this weekend. So a lot of sports going on at the moment.
Yeah, and I do want to complain to the weather gods real quick because I'm going skiing, as we just talked about. I'm going skiing on Wednesday, and I'm going to Red River, New Mexico, and that's in north central New Mexico.
Yeah,
Everywhere in this country or in this area of the country, and I was just getting pounded with snow. And there's
a little,
like just a little circle surrounded that is not getting touched by snow, and that's where I'm going skiing, and they're already lacking with snow. So that was a disappointing sight to see. But the snow, I love. I've been looking out the window, just like an old man looking out the window, like half the day, because I just love watching the snow. But yes, other than the snow, other than my vacation, where I'm half-assed already checked out for. We just be glad I was able to show up today because I'm having trouble to do anything with my life, even like feeding myself because I'm just so ready to get out of town. I'm very, very much excited for the days and nights ahead we have of sports, which started last night with the Thunder, going into the playoffs today, college football playoffs, and then to the NFL playoffs all the way to Monday. Going to be elite.
Well, let's just go ahead and talk about that Thunder game last night in Cleveland. They dropped one to the Cavs, was final score 129-122. That was the most points they've gotten scored on them all season. I know Brian Windhorst earlier today, I believe, said that third quarter was the best basketball he's seen in 20 years in the NBA. I don't know how true that is, but this was a game where you definitely would love to see these two teams play a 7-game series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if the Thunder have Chet, the game is a little bit different than what it was last night. Maybe you don't have guys like Evan Mobley going to the rim as much, right? Maybe he stays out at the three, kind of like what he normally does. But I thought it was a great game last night, even though the Thunder lost.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game. It's one of those games where if you're a Thunder fan, during the that fourth quarter, your heart was pounding a little. But once the game ended, you weren't upset really by the result at all.
Yeah.
Thunder played hard, played against arguably the best team in the NBA. I think it's Thunder, Celtics, Cavs all up there, in a group of themselves. I still lean the Thunder if there was a 7-game series with a Chet and even an Alex Caruso. But yeah, it was a fantastic game. It was just one of those games where you watch it, it's like, I cannot wait for Thursday because they play again 1 week from today in Oklahoma City. I can't wait, for that rematch on TNT. I pre-tweeted last night, already mad at the NBA for not having it on national TV before doing homework, and I got in the comments, yeah, it's on TNT.
Yes.
Credit to me, kept the tweet up. I kept the tweet up, so credit to me for not deleting it. But I'm very excited for that game, and I was really impressed with the Cavs. I haven't really watched them play much. I watched them play early on in like November when they're like 12-0 or something, and I think they're playing the Knicks during that game. But that was so early on in the season, so I haven't seen them much yet until last night. I was really impressed with them. Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley are a hell of a front court duo.
Yes.
Like that we'll see when the Thunder get Chet back because I think Hartenstein and Chet could definitely be that. They'll at least be the top 3 of the best front courts of the NBA. You got the Cavs and you got teams like the Bucks with Giannis and Brook Lopez, and you got teams like the Celtics with Horford and Porzingis. But Horford isn't really much as a traditional big guy, as we know. But that was just a great basketball game. And like I said, if the Thunder and Cavs played in a 7-game series with even just with a healthy Caruso, I really like the Thunder's chances because Well, I'm not going to say it because you have to credit the Cavs because they're the best offense in the NBA. I was going to say they were phenomenal. They were lights out offense, but you couldn't just rely on them to be cold because they're
Yeah,
the best offense in the NBA. They're an elite offense. And I think one thing last night that showed, and there was elite defense at times. Like the Thunder and Cavs both turned it on defense at times, but it was just one of those moments last night where the Cavs and even the Thunder were just hitting shots, and you're like, there was nothing more that the defenders could have done. I mean, it goes to show how elite these guys are at scoring the basketball, and what a team like the Cavs, who are the number one offense in the NBA, are hot. It's hard to stop them. It's hard to
yeah.
stop. Got to force turnovers is the best way to stop them.
I mean, the difference really in this game is the Cavs took 10 more free throw shots than the Thunder. So, which they only made they took 27. They only made 20. The Thunder took 17 and made 15 of those. So, I guess that really wouldn't have been the difference since there's only 5 difference there. Still would have lost. But yeah, no, it was a great game all around. I really thought it was good that Jalen Williams, J Dub, got started early because we haven't seen that from him in a little bit, right? We see him come out of halftime, and even I'm trying to think. I know the Knicks and Celtics in the third quarter, the Thunder turned it up. They scored. I don't know. I think it was like 40 something points on the Celtics in the third quarter. The other day they scored 43 last night against the Cavs. The Cavs scored 41 in the third. So I don't think, and there's a lot of people online saying it was bad defense being played last night. I don't look at it that way. I look at
No,
it as two teams that can knock down shots and played the game the way that they like to play the game, like with the Thunder taking, mid-range shots and getting outside and shooting the three ball. You just got to play a little bit better defense in the fourth quarter, and I think the Thunder could probably come out the win in that game last night.
yeah, I mean, it was definitely just. I mean, like I said, it's like there's only so much you could have done. Yeah, you could. I mean, if you could have done more on defense, you could always do more. Don't twist my words
They
or
just got a little
anything.
sloppy in the fourth quarter last night.
But there's just also so many times where it's just like the Cavs were just making unreal shots. The offensive
Yeah.
rebounding there in the last 3 minutes for the Cavs helped them a lot. And it was just a game where two elite teams played great, and the Cavs played better in the last 2 minutes, and that was a difference.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what happened. So coming up for the Thunder, let's see. I had their schedule here in front of me. I know they have the Knicks on Friday night tomorrow, and then they have Washington on Sunday, Philadelphia on Tuesday, and then back home to take on the Cavs. And then back to back, they play the Cavs Thursday of next week at home. And they go to Dallas on Friday. So a bunch of tough games coming up for the Thunder. We're going to see what they're really made of after a stretch of games where they kind of played not the best teams in the NBA. I'll say
Yeah.
their schedule's starting to turn up here in the next couple of weeks, where they've got a bunch of games against some good teams. So we'll learn a lot about the Thunder sans Chet, which, by the way, Chet traveled with the team on this East Coast road trip. He's off the crutches, according to some people. I think he even posted a picture on his Instagram the other day on his Instagram story of him with basketball shoes on. So he's probably still doing like non-contact
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's definitely out there. I'm imagining just shooting around and not doing like a whole bunch of stuff. But it's been now. Has it been like the 8 weeks?
Yeah, I think we
Or
had I think the Celtics game, because I saw it on Twitter by a couple people. I think it was in the Celtics game, maybe the Saturday night before the Celtics game, was it the 8 week stretch. So here in
okay,
about a week or two, we should have a good update. But all signs are looking positive right now for Chet, returning before the playoffs,
yeah,
and hopefully getting some regular season games under his belt to get back
yeah.
into game shape.
And that 8 to 10 weeks was just them to reevaluate
Yes,
him.
yes,
So
yes, yes. He's gonna
uh,
be out. He's gonna be out until March, I'd say, at the
yeah.
earliest.
Yeah, I was thinking somewhere around the All-Star break, so yeah,
Yeah.
that tracks. Um, David on Facebook says, "Do you guys think the Spurs should make a trade to get better?" I don't know. Let me even look at the standings currently right now. At
They're at
this,
the 9 seed right now,
yeah,
10 seed.
I don't know if where are they at? I am yeah, they're the 10 seed. I don't know if it's worth doing that when it comes to just making it into the play-in tournament. Right
Yeah.
now, if you're sitting at like the 6th seed and you're the Spurs, or even like at the 5 seed, then yeah, I could see that, because you could easily move up. But right now, I still think they're like a year or two away from being really good.
Yeah, I mean they're just doing the process right now. We saw the Thunder do the process. They got their superstar in Wembanyama, and it's just a matter of building around him now. But I think a lot of that's going to come for the draft for them.
Yeah, 100%. So, anything else on the Thunder before we get into this
Uh,
college football game?
Not on the Thunder, just on the NBA and the bottom tier teams. Let the Cooper flag. They've already been doing it. Begin, because I watched a little bit of the Duke Pitt game the other night, and I
I
saw
did
him
as well.
play
Yeah.
him. Oh my gosh, that guy is gonna be a stud in this league, and he just turned 18 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know teams were already doing it, and I know Cooper Flag was already great, but that was the first time I really kind of sat down and watched him play basketball. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
I've seen a couple of his games like earlier in the season. Yes, he's definitely a very good basketball player. All right, yeah, let's get into this football game. It's about to start here in like 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes or so on ESPN. It is the Orange Bowl, and we talked about it on Sunday. I hate that we're giving teams chances to win 2 bowl games in this playoff format. Let some of the other teams go out and play in the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, and let this just be like you could be like the semifinal round of the college football playoff,
Yeah.
Played wherever. Let's not make it the Orange Bowl. Not let these teams win 2 bowls.
And also, college football is just so much about environments and stuff.
Yeah.
On campus game, like that's part of the lore of college football is games being played on the school's campus, and the crowds and stuff. And it's just, yeah, I mean, just if you're a Penn State fan, there's no way, unless you're super wealthy and you have a lot of PTO, or you run your own business or something. It's kind of the only way you can get to Big Ten championship, to Fiesta Bowl, to Orange Bowl, than if they went tonight to national championship, and vice versa for all these other teams. So yeah, I'm with you totally. Make the first 2 rounds on campus, then send them to their bowl game, and then the national championship after that.
I want to look this up because I can't remember the exact wording on this tweet, but the Ohio State fan that showed up to the Orange Bowl thinking that Ohio State was going to play in the Orange Bowl.
Oh no!
I'm trying to find it. I can't find it on Twitter right now.
I saw one of a Texas fan the day who thought the Cotton Bowl still actually played in the Cotton Bowl. Because he was like talking about the snow, and I mean, he could have been kidding. You can never tell on Twitter or anything, but he was like, "Oh, like I only pay attention to Texas football, really, so I haven't watched a Cotton Bowl."
How can I find this? I saw everyone retweeting this earlier. Now I can't find it. But apparently, I don't know how they did, but I think they like bought their tickets too early, or maybe they were inebriated when they bought paid for the trip and all that stuff. But yeah, they paid for tickets to the Orange Bowl, and they're playing in the Cotton Bowl.
So in 2021, when OSU was really good, and there was a chance that they're going to be in the playoff.
Yeah,
we did the math in our head that it was the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl that year, just like it is this weekend. And we did the math in our head. We're like, all right, if OSU makes a playoff, they're probably going to be in the Cotton Bowl, because the winner of the SEC is going to be the 1 seed. That'd be Alabama or Georgia, and they'll choose, because when you get to pick your seeding in the 14 playoff or your bowl game destination, and we're like, so they'll be in the Orange Bowl, and OSU will probably be the 4 seed or the 3 seed in the Cotton Bowl, because we thought OSU was going to be the 3 seed if they made the playoffs, and then that's how it would have fallen if it happened. But a lot of my friends bought Cotton Bowl tickets before the Big 12 championship game because they're so cheap, and or they're like $150 or something. And I was like, guys, it's like if OSU loses this and like Cincinnati plays it, and then I literally told them, I was like, if it's like Cincinnati versus Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, it's like there's not a whole lot of Cincinnati fans.
No, you're not going to be able to resell.
And Alabama fans are not going to waste their money to go to the Cotton Bowl to watch them play Cincinnati in the playoff for the 30th straight year. So I luckily did not make those purchases, but I had friends that did, and they didn't get to sell them for the money they won. So they decided to go spend New Year's in Dallas and go to the Cotton Bowl next to watch Alabama versus Cincinnati.
There could be worse ways though
And then I
to
also blame them for the reason we lost the Big 12 championship
yeah.
because there's
I
like that
guess
Wednesday between.
yeah, I guess it would hurt a little bit more that way. I was gonna say there's worse ways to spend New Year's than going to a college football playoff game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that would hurt a little bit. Being back at the scene of the crime too,
Hmm.
at
Yeah.
AT&T Stadium. Yeah. All right. So, what do you think about this game tonight there in Miami? Notre Dame right now a 1-point dog to Penn State. I think this opened at Notre Dame at like 1.5-point favorite in this one, but I like Notre Dame in this one. I think Penn State has proven me wrong because I didn't have much faith or belief in them earlier in the season and heading into the playoffs. They've proved me wrong now at this point. I still think there's just something about Notre Dame where they play complete football, and I think that their defense will be able to stop this Penn State offense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Notre Dame a lot in this game. Riley Leonard, he's not gonna be able to throw it through the air. He had like 80 yards against Georgia or whatever
Yeah.
it was. Uh, but I do like his ability to. I think he is a really solid college quarterback for what they're doing in their offense, where he's able to run very well and then just rely on their defense. I think this is probably going to be a lower scoring game.
Oh yeah.
Um, over
Like
under like
the total
45
right
and a
now
half.
is yeah,
Yeah.
45.5, and it's like I could see this being like a 17-10 ball game.
Yeah. So like they're thinking 24, 23-22 is really what
Yeah.
Vegas thinks it's going to be right now. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a lower scoring game. Penn State, Drew Aller. Penn State. It's just one of those teams where it's like I could see them winning tonight by 2 touchdowns. I could, but I don't trust James Franklin in big games. But then again, you go look at the Ohio State game, and you go back and watch it. Like they had every opportunity to win that game.
Yeah.
They just didn't. But in Ohio State, we see how good they are now. So I like Notre Dame in this game, but I'm also not going to be surprised whatsoever if Penn State just comes out and dominates. But I'm definitely rooting for Notre Dame as well because the lesser of two evils. I don't like James Franklin, and Penn State just I'll never root for them because of the whole Sandusky stuff. And I know it's not their fans' fault or anything, but it's just like,
who cares?
I'd rather you guys not.
You have your reasons, right? You have your reasons,
Yeah.
and that doesn't matter to anyone else.
Yeah.
Do we say that maybe Notre Dame has had and played a tougher schedule here in the playoffs? I mean, for sure they have, having to play Georgia in the last round, and Penn State's played SMU and Boise State. Even Indiana, I mean, kind of put up a little bit of a fight when you look at the final score, 27-17. It wasn't a complete blowout. 23-10 win against Georgia. And, I'm not going to sit here and forget the fact that they scored like 14 points or something like that in like 54 seconds. I know that was a big part of that game, but it still happened. They were still able to do it. So do you take that into factor here in this game that maybe Notre Dame has played a little bit of tougher opponents heading into this one?
Yeah, definitely that they have. I think they're, probably. I think one thing Notre Dame does have, not in their favor tonight is one. Okay, there was a flu outbreak, but I think
I saw that when I think it said Notre Dame flu
Notre Dame.
outbreak,
Okay,
but it
Notre
was
Dame.
a lot of backups, so the
Yes.
starters should be playing. Take that for what it's worth. Right?
Yeah. I mean, they've been getting IVs all day. If they're going to be playing, they should be able to buck up for 3 hours and get through in the playoff.
Get some saltine crackers in
I
there and a bunch
do
of
think an
IVs.
advantage Penn State has the extra 3 days rest as well because
Yeah,
obviously Notre Dame got their game delayed for a day.
that is true.
Penn State played what the night before, so it's an extra like 48, 30, 48, 50, 60 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah,
extra rest, which can go a long way. But then again, it's not like it's only game 15 with college kids, and they have had good gaps in between. So maybe it's not going to be the biggest de facto in the world, but I think that is something where I do think that's in Penn State's favor. But I do like Notre Dame in this game. I think their defense is just too good, to I don't want to say too good to not win, but I think their defense is just too good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Notre Dame in this one. I think it's gonna be close. To me, this could be a 3-point, field goal game.
I'll say
when
17
it comes
to
down to it.
I'll say 20 to 17.
20 to 17. I like that. Yeah, I actually really like that. I would probably go like 17-14, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think it is going to be a low scoring, and now that means if you're out there that there's going to be about 100 points scored
Take the
in this
over.
game.
Take the
Yeah.
over in Penn State.
It's going to be
Yeah.
100 points scored. It's going to be like 45-42 at halftime. We're going to be like, what the hell were you even talking about?
I'll take it. I
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong.
Oh, that
because
would be
I wanna
amazing.
say,
Yeah.
give me a shootout.
All right. How about Texas and Ohio State tomorrow night in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl? Well, not at the Cotton Bowl, in the Cotton Bowl. I'm trying to find this game here on ESPN. Now, Ohio State a 6-point favorite. Am I wrong in thinking, and I know there might be some Texas fans watching this right now, so cover your ears if you don't want to hear this, but am I wrong in thinking that Ohio State's going to go in and beat the hell out of Texas tomorrow?
No, because I think the exact same thing, but the only reason I think this game will be a little bit closer is because I think one of the advantages Ohio State had, and we saw it with all teams who had a bye week, getting that first game in,
Yeah,
getting maybe some of the jitters out, getting your tune yourself up, or
yeah.
everything, just playing a game before. So I do think Texas will come in not as rusty or something as Oregon did. With that said, I do think Ohio State's going to win this game by double digits.
Yeah, they put 42 on Tennessee, they put 41 on Oregon. They're rolling right now. Chip Kelly, as the offensive coordinator, has waited until the right time to start calling his best games. Will Howard has decided. By the way, they didn't let him on the stage at whatever the hell bowl game it was last week, which was just insane. But yeah, they've been playing crazy the last 2 games. I think that's going to continue, and I think that Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college football right now as a true freshman. He's crazy.
He's the best true freshman since Adrian Peterson.
And it's crazy because we're sitting here and Alabama has, Ryan Williams on their squad, and that kid was just freaking amazing as well this year. 2 just insane wide receivers.
Better.
Yeah, which is crazy to think because Ryan Williams is an insane talent.
Yeah, he's a first rounder.
Yeah, I think they would be 1 and 2 off the board wide receiver wise this year.
Ryan Williams is 17 too. He doesn't even turn 18
exactly.
I think it's like February or something.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I look at this one. I think Ohio State -6. It even started at -5. It's already up to 6. So I think Ohio State probably wins by like 14, somewhere in there, 14 to 17 points.
Yeah.
And again,
Texas.
We'll probably be wrong. Yeah.
Texas winning the national championship, I think, is everyone's worst fear around here.
in the whole country. That's everyone's worst fear in the whole country. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
That I don't even know how big.
I'm sure there's a lot of Big Ten fans. Like, if you're like a Michigan State fan,
that's true.
Texas tomorrow.
But I still think the hatred for Texas, just because, let's be honest, we live here in Oklahoma. We understand Texas people probably better than anyone in the country, where they just think that once you pass the Red River, everything is just better, things work better, life is just better, when it's not the case. It's just a bunch of idiots down there in Texas.
I got
driving like a million miles an hour everywhere they go. You got to drive 5 miles once you get off an exit and come all the way back around because they don't know how to do exits on the highways. There's always construction everywhere, and there's too many damn people down there.
I went to college with people that are from Texas. Not all of them are like this, but I have a couple of buddies that they Stillwater, Oklahoma was their home for 4 years. Like they lived in Oklahoma for 4 years, and they'll still just find a way to shit on the state any way they can.
Yeah,
it's like, sorry, like I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah,
it's like people from Texas are the worst. My friends from Texas, they're the worst. I have family in Texas. They're the worst. And if you're a random from Texas, you're even worse.
My parents moved from here down to Texas, so I like to give them grief about that all the time.
They only have so much time, Preston, before they become insufferable.
Yes, we'll have to try and fight that off. Fight the good fight. All right, so that's our little preview for college football games going on. All right, let's go ahead now and anything else on college football before we get into. Oh, by the way, I wanted to bring up your thoughts on Kendall Daniels to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think I think when he entered the portal, it was one of those things where it's like this feels like it's gonna happen. There was not really no rumors or anything, but in-state kid, Brent Venables recruited him to Clemson, but he didn't want to go that far from home or anything. And he's in his last shot. So I wish Kendall nothing but the best. I think it was one of those things where it was time for OSU to move on from him, and it was time for him to move on to OSU. And I think, when Trace Ford transferred, it was such an outcry. It was such, OSU fans being, I'll say it because it's the reality of it being little brother on the thing.
Yeah.
But now that we just have this happen every year with Gavin Freeman to Stillwater, Caleb Hicks to Stillwater, then Trace Ford that's already gone there.
Kelly
Now
Max,
Kendall Daniels,
yeah.
Kelly Mack. Yeah, we've had this happen so many times. Lexi Keys and stuff. It's just what it is now. Every year we're going to get a major athlete transferring from Stillwater to Norman or vice versa. So it's just what it is now. I wish Kendall the best. I think he has a lot of potential, but we'll see. Then again, if you're 4 years in, he's had some good years, and I think he didn't benefit necessarily from the Brian Nardo defense.
Yeah.
So we'll see, kind of thing. Thank you. That's a salty fan in me right there. Think he needs to maybe get a little attitude check at times.
Yeah.
Because things get tough during the season doesn't just mean he can quit. That's not how it works.
Yeah. No, and look, everyone kind of had said that this last season about him, but again, it's a little tough playing on a 3-9 football team.
Yes,
at the end of the
and he
season.
also knows that this opportunity he has in Norman. It's his last year of eligibility.
Yeah.
It's his last shot, so I don't think that's going to be an issue at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I said, as a fan of me coming out when I say that.
And if this has taught me anything, it just means that he'll be on with the morning animals at like 7:00 once a week during football.
Also, the Jim Knowles report to Norman. It's gonna break my heart if that ends up happening. I don't know why.
There's no way.
I don't know why he would go from like a secure job, making $2.5 million a year to a job that might be. Supposedly he has a fiance that lives in Oklahoma that he met when he was at Oklahoma State. So I think that's a reason, but. We talked about the morning animals this morning, and that's going to break my heart. I said, Jim Knowles is a hero of mine. He made me feel like more of a man when he was my defensive coordinator because of how tough he made that defense.
But I mean,
he's a little hero of mine.
You would think that wouldn't happen because I don't know what kind of system he runs, but bringing in that system, he's a play caller at Ohio State right now. He's been calling defenses for a while now. He's not going to come in here and just let Brent Venables, handle the defense when he's the defensive coordinator. That's why the main reason is I don't think that would happen. Yeah. But that sure would be an interesting move.
Yeah, very. And I don't want that to happen. That'd be the worst bedlam transferring thing that's ever happened to me, actually.
Yeah. That or
you guys can't enjoy the Jim Knowles defense. I'm not gonna. You guys can enjoy the Brent Venables defense all you want. Yeah. And Brent Venables is a great defense. You can enjoy, but no one can enjoy the Jim Knowles defense, but Duke, OSU, and OSU fans.
And then Mike Gundy retires and a couple of years down the road decides, I think I want to go be like analyst at OU. That would be the icing.
He would never.
He would never do that. No, I agree. That's just me having a little bit of fun. So all right, let's go ahead and in the NFL, switching over to the NFL, we did this, I don't know, halfway through, I think, the NFL season this year, where we gave our opinions on all the teams, if we thought they were better or worse than what we thought they were going to be before the season and the preseason. So we're going to do that now for the full season, because I think it's interesting to sit back and look back at kind of what we thought these teams were going to be and where they're at now at this point as the playoffs start on Saturday with the Chargers in Houston and the Steelers and Ravens on Saturday, and then a bunch of games on Sunday. So we'll start in the AFC East, T-Bag, and we will start we'll go bottom up from each division. So we'll start with the New England Patriots, where they finished with a 4-13 record and they fired their head coach. Better or worse than what you thought they would do?
About the same, but I'll lean is a little bit better. It's just
Yeah,
because Drake May, what we saw, Gerard Mayo wasn't a good coach. He obviously got fired. So I think if you're a Patriots fan, it's one of those seasons where you're like, all right, it looks like we may have a quarterback for the future. Let's make the right hire head coach. It
yeah.
looks like it very well could be Mike Vrabel. So I would say slight, and I mean like hairline better than what I thought they'd be, because I thought they'd be like in the 2 to 4 win
Yeah.
range, and they won 4 games, but they look like they have a quarterback, so you take that every time.
It looks like they have 2 quarterbacks, because they put in Joe Milton
Nope,
last week trying to lose, and what did he do? He
mm,
went out and won the football game
he
and
balled.
cost them the number 1 pick. So, I will say that they did about what I thought they were gonna do. I figured they'd be last in their division and fighting for the number 1 pick, and that's what they were doing. So,
Yeah,
I would say right on par with what I thought they would do this season. How about the 5-12 New York Jets? I think this is very clear that they did way worse than
yep,
what we all thought they were going to do. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought maybe they would be able to make it to the Super Bowl, because I looked at Garrett Wilson. You've got Brees Hall, then obviously Devontae Adams they added later in the year, so it doesn't really matter. But I just thought the roster was good, and they answered some of their needs in the offseason. And obviously, I was completely wrong, and they were absolutely terrible this year.
yeah. So I didn't think they'd be like a playoff team because of Aaron Rodgers' antics.
Yeah,
I'm also just an Aaron Rodgers hater. Do not like the guy, and I bet their win total under 9.5. But I also thought they'd be like a 7, 8 win, maybe even
yeah,
9 team.
like right on the bubble.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and it was also like a very much of a spite bet, just because I want to root against Aaron Rodgers no matter where he's at,
yeah,
because of the torment he brought me for years of my life. Um, and then also with the whole, he's going to be VP for RFK and stuff last year. Just like it was a bleep show off season. So I did bet they're under, but they were obviously way worse than what I thought they'd be.
yeah. They were terrible. 100% terrible. All right. Speaking about teams that were on the bubble, how about the Miami Dolphins? They miss out on the playoffs. They're going to keep their head coach. They're going to keep their GM, whether the Miami fans like it or not. The Dolphins finished 8-9, and I would say that's probably a little bit worse than what I thought they would do. I think I figured they would be around like 10 wins.
Tua was hurt.
Yeah, two
So
got hurt. So I would say a little bit worse than what I thought
yeah,
they were going to be.
yeah, a little bit worse, but if they had two for the whole season, probably about on what we thought, the 10, maybe
Yeah.
11 team if Tua was healthy for that month. But yeah, I mean, I think the Dolphins are kind of like in that Steelers category right now, where it's like they're going to be good enough, with
It's
Mike
like
McDaniel and
purgatory
Tua.
where they're
Yeah,
good enough where they don't
th-
have a good
they're
draft pick, and
they're not going
they're
to win a
yeah.
playoff game, and they just might miss the playoffs. That's about what they're
Yes.
they're they're low is missing the playoffs by a game, and their high is making it to the playoffs and losing in the first round in
Yeah.
cold weather.
100%. All right, in the 13-4 Buffalo Bills, they win the division. They're the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. I'll say they did better.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to regress this year after all the turnover that they had on defense and offense and all that stuff. And Josh Allen went out and proved me wrong. It turns out as long as you have Josh Allen on your football team is going to probably be a good football team. So, yeah, I think they were better than what I thought they were going to be at the start of the season.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we all thought they were going to be good. It's not like none of us thought they weren't going to be a playoff team or anything, but I think none of us would have been surprised that they didn't win the division this year and went 10-7, 11-6, or something like that. But they are legit Super Bowl contenders, and I did not think that this would be the year that they'd be in the conversation with the Ravens and the Chiefs, but they
Yeah.
they most definitely are.
Yes, 100%. All right, now moving on to the AFC North. We'll start at the bottom of the division. The Cleveland Browns finished the season 3-14. They had a surprise. The Cleveland Browns had a revolving door at quarterback this season. I know that's never happened in Cleveland Browns history, right? They were terrible, but I still think that they were worse than what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, they were awful, and they are definitely worse than what I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be about a 7, 8 win team.
Yeah.
We're kind of around that 500 number hovering, but they were awful. Even but Deshaun got hurt. Yeah, they would have been 3-14 with Deshaun.
They were still
He was
bad. Yeah,
awful.
exactly. They were still bad with
They were
him
just
at quarterback.
awful this year. It was terrible.
Yes. All right. The
And it shouldn't
9
be a surprise.
No, shouldn't. It
Like,
shouldn't. And it couldn't happen to a better organization
yeah.
and a better quarterback. Right. All right. The Cincinnati Bengals finished the season at 9-8, just narrowly miss out on the playoffs. They just had an extremely slow start to the season. I think we can easily say that this is worse than what we expected. Especially if you look at the stats, you look at Joe Burrow's numbers this season, you'd be like, yeah, this is like the number one team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you look at their record and they didn't make the playoffs, and you're like, well, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah, their defense just failed them time and time again this season.
Big time.
Credit to them for what they won their last 5 to
Yeah.
get, in a spot to give them a chance to get in. Obviously, they didn't get in, but yeah, offense better than I expected. Defense a million trillion times worse than I thought than expected.
Yes.
So definitely worse, because if you would have told me Burrow's healthy all year and he puts up these numbers, I'm like, they're probably a Super Bowl team.
Yeah. All right, how about the 10-7 Pittsburgh Steelers that make it into the playoffs with the second wild card spot in the AFC? Russell Wilson has had a decent start to the season whenever he finally got healthy and started playing, but he's fallen off a little bit since. Justin Fields, he had him at like 6-0 or something like that before Russell Wilson took over at quarterback. Steelers in the season at 10-7, not the best end of the season, but they're in the playoffs too. Yeah, lost 4 in a row. I would say that's about what I thought they were going to do. I mean, it's a Mike Tomlin team.
What they do.
Yeah, you tell me a Mike Tomlin team won 10 games and was a wild card in the AFC, I'd be like, yeah, no, that makes sense. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, if someone was like, you had to predict the Steelers, season this year, like your life depends on it, I would say, okay, they're going to be either 9 or 10 wins, get into the wild card and lose in the first round.
They're going to be above 500.
They're going to win some games they shouldn't. They're going to lose some games they shouldn't along the way, and their fans are going to complain the whole time.
Yes, that's the Steelers with Mike Tomlin right now. So,
how
about the 12-5?
Lose this weekend and fire him, because I will take him on the Bears.
Yeah,
I will take him on the Bears.
I think that would be very.
I think a fresh start for him would be really good for it too. Like, I think I think it may be time for both parties to move on, because Steelers fans are very tired of, and I get it, of the purgatory. At some point you're like, can we just be bad so maybe we can draft a quarterback or something?
Yeah.
Instead of just having those revolving doors of Russell Wilsons and Mr. Trubisky's come in. But at the same time, I will take Mike Tomlin with the Bears, because I would like that to be my life.
Yes, I think that would be very good. All right, how about the 12-5 Baltimore Ravens? They win the AFC North. Lamar in questions, in talks as the MVP of the NFL. He had a great season, and that's kind of what I figured they would do. I think they're right about what I thought they would do. I thought they would go out and they'd win the division, and be what are they, the 3 seed, I think, in the playoffs. So, I think that's exactly what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they'd be, definitely a double-digit win team. I can't remember if I bet, or if I predicted the Bengals or the Ravens to win this division this year. It could have very well been the Bengals. I can't remember though. But definitely, if you would have told me, hey, if you would have told me in the preseason, and this hypothetical, because obviously the Bengals did not win the division, that the Bengals were going to win the division, what did the Ravens do? I said, oh, well, they either had the same record as the Bengals and they had a tiebreaker, they had 1 less loss. So yeah, 12-13 wins would have been my prediction for them, and that's what they did. So they went 12-5 and very much in the mix for the Super Bowl.
All right, how about the AFC South, where we start with the Tennessee Titans, 3-14. I think they're probably worse than what I thought they were going to. I figured this would be like around a 500 team.
Yeah, they're probably a little bit worse than what I thought. But they're Will Levis is just never the answer. Mason Rudolph is, he's Mason Rudolph. He's a backup quarterback that can, come in and maybe game manage and maybe win you a game. I mean, he took the Steelers in the playoffs last year, but that was, being a Steelers merchant more than Mason Rudolph just balling out. But yeah, they were not a good football team, and obviously the worst team in the NFL because they had the 1 pick. So I would say worse, because I would not have predicted the Titans having the 1 pick this year.
Now, I don't want to pat myself on the back with this next one, with the 4-13 Jacksonville Jaguars. But I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said they ain't going to be as good as they once were. Shout out Toby Keith, because I just did not believe in the Jaguars. Turns out I was right. Now I didn't think they were going to be 4-13.
Yeah.
Figured they'd win, 6 games, something like that, and miss the playoffs and all that. But 4-13, the coach gets fired. I know Trevor Lawrence was hurt for a decent amount this season, but
even when he played, they lost.
Yeah, this one where I should be saying they're worse than I thought they would be. I think they're about what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I would say they're worse than what I thought they'd be, and I wasn't high on them. I didn't have them, in the playoffs this year. I was with you on that one where I didn't think they're going to be as good, just because the Jags are the Jags and it's just what they do. But I did not think they'd be a 4-13 football team for sure.
Yes,
I did not think that.
I didn't think they were going to be that bad. So
No.
All right, how about the 8-9 Indianapolis Colts? They also just barely miss out on the playoffs. Anthony Richardson, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to begin with him. Gave up on his team during a drive this season, was replaced by Joe Flacco multiple times this season. What a mess they have in Indianapolis. And I'll say that they were better than what I thought. I figured that would be like a 5-win team. I'll give it to him and say they're a little bit better than what I thought they were going to be. I just never believed in Anthony Richardson.
I never believed in Anthony Richardson either, but I think the Colts are kind of the exact opposite of purgatory hell as the Steelers. They're just good enough to get you close to 500 and make you believe in week 17 and 18 you have a chance of making the playoffs. So they're probably better than what I thought, because if you would have asked me for the season, I probably would have said 6 wins. But now that you look at it, you go, oh, they went 8-9 and barely missed the playoffs. Yeah, that's what the Colts do.
Yeah, and it's just like like you said, the exact opposite of the Steelers that go just over 500 every year and make the playoffs. So, and then the 10-7 Houston Texans, I think they won 10 games, but I still think they were worse than what I thought they were going to be. I thought this was like a 12 or 13 win team.
They're not good right now.
And yeah, they are not good towards the end of the season. And that's why I think it was important for the Chargers to win last week and the Steelers to lose. So the Chargers don't have to play the Ravens. The Steelers do. And the Chargers get to go down to Houston and take on the Texans. But we'll get into that later on. All right, the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders, 4-13. They fire their head coach. They fire their GM today. They are who I thought they were.
Yeah.
Ass is what I thought
Minshew
they were going to be.
AOC wasn't going to, Aiden O'Connell wasn't going to go win you a bunch of games. Shocker.
Yeah. So worse for the Raiders. How about the 10-7 Broncos make it into the playoffs as a wild card? I'll say it. They're better than what I thought they were going to be.
Talking like week 2, like way too early. Like, we pat yourself on the back. I agreed with you with the Jacksonville thing. We gotta eat our crow with the Denver, because we were talking about Sean Payton lost his fastball. Nope, because they are significantly better than what I thought they'd be.
100%. 10-7. Bo Nix. He played great. Not going to win Rookie of the Year because I think that Jaden Daniels played better throughout the season. But Bo Nix there was a while where he was just on fire for the Broncos, and wins 10 games in his rookie year. How about the 11-6 Los Angeles Chargers? As a Chargers fan, I'll say they did better than I thought they were going to do. I thought they would win probably 8 to 9 games, something like that. They go out, they win 11. They go 11-6. They're the number 1 wild card team in the AFC, and that's the Jim Harbaugh effect.
I thought. I was always a believer in the Chargers this year. I think they're better. I do think they're better than what I thought, but I just knew Jim Harbaugh was going to come in there and just turn that sucker around. And this has just been a great season for the Chargers. Preston, I know you're going to be mad if they lose to the Texans.
I'll be very mad, yes.
Because you should beat the Texans, but you are also going into the playoffs just saying, like, future's looking really good right now because you got Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh leading the way, and this is just year 1.
Yeah, you can maybe get some better offensive linemen in the interior, A
Oh,
tight
Harbaugh will
end.
do that. Don't worry.
Uh,
Harbaugh's gonna be the best offensive line in the
the only
NFL.
thing that will me is Harbaugh's not going to go get like an expensive wide receiver because
Yeah.
he's like, hell, we need an
Yeah.
expensive wide receiver for. We've got
What do you need
Lad
one of those basketball players for?
Yeah, exactly. We don't need that. Let's just get a big, beefy tight end that can catch passes, and let's run the damn football. So, which hey, whatever wins football games. And then how about the 15-2 Kansas City Chiefs? I thought they would be one of the best teams in the NFL. They were, but I still got to say they're better than what I thought they were going to be. I didn't think they would only lose 2 games this year.
They're better record wise, and I know I'm crazy for saying this, and we can clip this.
You're not crazy.
They're going to win the
crazy.
Super Bowl. We all know what's going to happen. They're going to end up winning the Super Bowl. They're better record wise, but they're playing the field sometimes. Is questionable, but they find ways to win football games.
Their defense is just so good. Yeah,
that matters. Yeah, they have an elite defense with the best quarterback in the world.
Yeah,
you know
that is a recipe to win football games. But yeah, you're right. They found so many different ways this season to win football games. They blocked a field goal against the Broncos. They had to doink a field goal in to beat the Chargers. I'm trying to think of other ways that they won, but there's a couple other different ways that they won football games this season. They just, and that's what good football teams do, right? They find a way to win football games.
They almost lost to the Panthers too.
Yeah. They had to get a field goal late to beat the Panthers. Yeah.
The Raiders gave him a game. So yeah, there was a lot of moments this year where the Chiefs were on the brink of danger, but they find ways to win football games. And again, that's all that matters. Nothing else 100%. Matters other than winning.
All right, let's get to the NFC. Starting with the NFC East, the Giants 3-14. I thought they were going to suck after getting rid of Saquon, or not even trying to retain Saquon, I should say. So I would say still probably a little bit worse than what I expected them to do, but I didn't expect much from them this season.
Yeah, they're better than what I thought. I'm not shocked they ended up winning the division, but they're definitely better than what I thought because I did not think they'd be a 14-3 team with Saquon having a year like he's having and just the way they've looked, especially at the beginning of the year with all the turmoil that went down, which there's just constant drama in Philly. I think it's a big Sirianni effect.
Now, I can tell that you're watching the college football game because that is not the team that I even brought up. But that was very good analysis for the Eagles. I was talking about the Giants. But yes,
yes, because I was like, I saw the time, I was like, oh, the game starts. So I went and brought it up, and then I just was looking at the NFC standings, and I thought we were talking about the Eagles. So that's why Eagles break down. Giants, they're exactly as bad as I thought they'd be. Okay, there we go.
I'm sitting here looking down at my phone watching it as well, so I understand. How about the Cowboys 7-10? Worse. I'll just say worse. That it's not the because what they won like 12 games last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
No, they just weren't as good as what they should have been this year.
Sorry, that's so funny. You brought up the Giants. I was just like, yeah, Eagles, Saquon. That's no penalty on that. Do you see that second down play right there?
Yeah, it was a bang play.
Dallas. If Dak was healthy the whole year, I think they probably won 2 or 3 more games, and then I think they probably be exactly where they thought they'd be.
Yeah,
a fringe 500 team, very fringe 500 team, because I thought they're going to regress with their run game, their offensive line, their defense. So I think they're worse than what I thought they'd be, but I think if Prescott was able to stay healthy, I think they'd probably be about where I predicted.
Yeah, I agree. Commanders 12-5, way better. I mean, way better.
Significantly. Like, never saw this one coming.
Yes. And then you said, what did you say for the Eagles again? You thought they were better.
Better, yeah. I thought they'd probably win the division, just because I didn't believe in the other 3 teams.
Yeah.
But I did not think it'd be a Super Bowl contending, like they're on right now.
And by the way, Jalen Hurts did practice today, so it looks like he's good to go this weekend for them. All right, how about the NFC North? Your division, your home division, the Chicago Bears 5-12. I'll say it. I think it's a little bit worse than what I thought they were going to do. I thought this would be like an 8-win team, and it turns out that they were not.
Worse. I thought they were a fringe playoff team. I thought they're 8, 9, 10-win team. Put a couple balls with their way. Caleb did, he had his moments where he did not look good at all, but he had his moments where he looked great, and he had one of the best quarterback seasons the Bears have ever had. So Caleb, I think, did about what I predicted. If you would have told me Caleb's stats, just blind, 3,500 yards with 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, 6 interceptions, whatever it was. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, like, yeah, that's what I think. And, with this defense, I think the Bears are probably a playoff team then.
Yeah.
No, everything, the Bears is Bears, and nothing's ever going to change with that. So,
by the way, I didn't realize there were only 2 divisions in the NFL that had 3 teams win double-digit games. One of them was the AFC West, the other the NFC North. So
look at us. We're in tough divisions.
Yeah,
now,
tough
I don't
divisions.
hold my weight in that division, but I'm in it, so it counts.
How about the Green Bay Packers 11-6? I figured that would be probably where they would end up at, somewhere
maybe
in
a
there.
little bit worse because I thought they'd take a lot bigger step with the momentum last year being the Cowboys in the playoffs and fighting the 49ers tooth and nail in a season where they were just so young. But yeah, 11-6 probably about where I thought, but with the play on the field, maybe just a tad bit worse than what I would have thought.
By the way,
they haven't looked great in a lot of games.
I haven't had a chance yet, but congratulations. You beat the Packers in Green Bay.
I did. First time since I was a freshman in college.
Yes.
I was a freshman in college.
Congratulations on taking down the Green Bay Packers.
I was at the Thunder Celtics game on Sunday, trying to find a stream to watch it on because my YouTube TV doesn't have the like the red zone or anything like. That's on another YouTube TV in our household. So I had no way of watching the game, and there's no illegal streams, and I was only willing to click on so many links. So I was literally just sitting there, and then finally, like, my buddy FaceTimed me so I could watch, the last drive. So I was literally at the Thunder game in the second quarter.
Yeah, just like watching on your phone.
Yeah.
How about the Minnesota Vikings 14-3? Way better. I mean, just way better than what I thought they were. I know you had high expectations for them.
Yeah, I did not think it'd be this.
I didn't. Yeah,
that'd be 10-7.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought even probably around 500 for me, but yeah, 14-3. And with the shot to win their division late in the season, I thought was big time from them this year.
Yeah, I thought they'd be like the 6 or 7 seed, not a 14-3 playing for the 1 seed on week 18 Saturday Night Football. Well, a phenomenal season by them. Sam Darnold, big game ahead for Sam Darnold in this playoff game against the Rams on Monday night. So, because he did not look that good against the Lions last Sunday.
Did not, yeah.
And they have JJ McCarthy, waiting. So it's going to be, do they want to pay him or what? So big game for Sam Darnold come Monday night.
All right, and the Lions 15-2. I thought they were going to be good. They were good. So I'll say just about what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
So all right, the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints finished.
They'd be better too than they'd probably be better too if they didn't have all these injuries.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. They've just been so decimated on defense for sure. So the New Orleans Saints 5-12. Worse. I didn't think they were going to be like crazy good, but I figured somewhere around like 8 wins, somewhere in there, like close to 500. I figured for the Saints. Obviously, Derek Carr getting hurt for a good majority of the season was not good for them, but I still think they underperformed this year. Yeah,
they were awful. They were just really bad, really bad. I'll probably say a little bit worse because I did bet them over 7 wins, I think, because I thought they'd be like a fringe, like they were last year, like 8-9, 9-8, something like that. So, definitely worse than what I thought.
All right, how about the Carolina Panthers 5-12? And T-Bag, if there were an in-season comeback player of the year, it would be Bryce Young getting benched and coming back and being just an amazing quarterback the rest of the season, them winning some games that they shouldn't have. That game against the Chiefs where they almost beat the Chiefs, I think that was at home for them, but they almost beat the Chiefs there like towards the back end of the season. So I would say about what I thought they were going to do because I didn't think they were going to be any good. But if you told me 3 weeks into the season, like, yeah, these guys are going to finish like not winning games at the end of the season, but being very competitive. And obviously they beat the Falcons there Did they beat the Falcons this last weekend, or did the Falcons end up sneaking one out? I can't remember.
I can't remember either because it was irrelevant because everyone was
But
watching. Panthers won
Bryce,
this week.
yeah,
Panthers won this
Bryce
week.
Young had that turnaround
Yeah.
touchdown. I mean, he was just fantastic at the end of the season.
They have a future. They have
Yeah.
they have excitement. They have excitement to look forward to in Carolina. Bryce Young looks really good. So yeah, I'd definitely say better because I thought they'd be a top 3 pick again this year.
Yeah. The Atlanta Falcons 8-9. That's about what I had them at, around
Maybe
500.
slightly worse, like just a
Yeah.
hair worse. I probably had them around 9 and 8.
Yeah,
it was
Michael
between them and
Penix.
Tampa.
Yeah, Michael Penix takes over towards the end of the season for Kirk Cousins and actually played well for him at the end of the season. So that's something to look forward to next year for the Falcons. And how about the 10-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I figured they would probably win like 12 games, but I got to say going 10-7 is about kind of what I thought they would do.
Yeah. Baker had a phenomenal season too.
Yeah.
Coming off the big contract he signed during the offseason.
Mike Evans as well. Yeah.
Mike Evans, another 1,000-yard season. So yeah, I think Bucks are probably about where I expected. I thought them in Tampa be, or them in Atlanta be, 10-7, 9 and 8, and whoever just won the 10 games are going to win the division. Pretty much what happened. So.
All right, one more division to go. The NFC West. The San Francisco 49ers finished the season 6-11. Way worse than what everyone thought they were going to do, but injuries stacked up big time for them at very key spots, and it was just bad.
I know injuries stacked up, but 6-11 for a team that was in the Super Bowl last year and had high expectations might be the most disappointing season in the entire NFL. I mean, it was bad.
It's up there. Yeah, it's up
and
there.
Brock Purdy also just was nowhere near what he was last year either. So, yeah, bad season for the Niners.
Deebo Samuel, I know he was hurt a little bit, but he wasn't his regular self. Brandon Ayuk got hurt early. McCaffrey was really out for a bunch of the season. So, not good for the 49ers. How about the Arizona Cardinals? 8-9, right around 500. They miss out on the playoffs. I don't really know how to put this. I figured they'd win probably around like 10 games, but 8-9 just feels right for that team.
They had moments where you're like, oh, they're better than what I thought they were. They had weekends where they're like, oh, they're really good. And they had weekends where like, yeah, that's the Cardinals. So I'd probably say about kind of where I expected. Like a decent team with a fully healthy Kyler, you're going to win. 6, 7, 8 games.
Yeah.
But there was also just Sundays where they looked really bad, and there were Sundays where they looked really good. So
yes. The Seattle Seahawks 10-7. That's about in the range where I had them. Anywhere
maybe
from
slightly better than what I would have had.
8 to 10 wins is kind of where I had them. Yeah, they missed the playoffs. They also dealt with some injuries down the stretch as well. And then how about old man Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams? 10-7. They win the division. They're on to the playoffs. I thought that they would probably get close to winning the division. I think everyone thought San Francisco was going to win that division heading into this season. But now, once the season's over with, the Rams win it. I'm sitting here kind of like, yeah, I could have predicted that. But then again, you look towards the beginning of the season, Matt Stafford wasn't really playing his best ball, right? But things came along towards the end of the season, so I feel like the Rams are right about where I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, it was if you listen to his show enough, Matt Stafford's one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, just to watch him play. So I'm glad that they're where they're at. I'm not a Rams fan, but I root for the Rams solely because of Matt Stafford. I'm a Matt Stafford lover. So probably about where I expected them to be. Didn't think they'd win the division for sure, but that's also just because the 49ers just completely shit the bed. So
yes. All right, playoff games this weekend. On Saturday, you got the Chargers and Texans at 3:30, and then the Steelers-Ravens at 7. By the way, that Steelers-Ravens game is on Prime Video. For you people that don't have Amazon Prime, you'll have to get that to watch the game. Sunday, you'll have Broncos-Bills at noon. At 3:30, you'll have Packers-Eagles. And at 7 p.m., you'll have Commanders-Buccaneers. And then on Monday, you'll have Vikings-Rams. So, great weekend of football ahead of us, a great weekend of NBA ahead of us, a great tonight and tomorrow of college football ahead of us. What a time to be alive here in the sports world.
Enjoy it, because soon it's going to be, the Wolves of February, and all will happen is the Thunder.
Yeah,
And
we'll be.
we don't want to talk about OSU basketball, and OU basketball might be joining that party soon.
Yes,
After
that
last night.
was tough for them last night. An 18-point lead blown there. And I look, I don't watch college basketball, so I can't sit here and talk too much about it because college basketball just bores me to death. But we're not too far away, like you said, to breaking down why so and so shouldn't be the fifth starter on the Texas Rangers in spring training. We're not too far away from
that. I've been a college basketball defender for a long time, because I know like college basketball was great in the 90s and 2000s. Like I know how great it was.
Yeah.
Trust me. Like the first sport I loved was those Eddie Sutton basketball teams for OSU, and I've followed college basketball all pretty much every year. Last year it died down. This year it's just completely dead, and I have a new coach that I should be excited about. But with the transfer portal and stuff, the new roster turnovers, it's just not nearly as fun, because even when in 2019, at least, I'd be like, oh, Mitchell Solomon, he's been here for 4 years,
and going back to
the players, because they're not transferring out all the time.
Exactly, yeah.
And now it's just like it's a new roster every year. When you have a new roster that's not any good, it's just not fun to watch.
I mean, and this is kind of like an outlier because Oklahoma made it to the Final Four this year. But 2016, I used to ditch class to go to OU games down at Lloyd Noble. So I'm not too far removed where I was, watching a lot of college basketball, and and it doesn't do it for me these days.
No, I'm there now. 2-3 years ago, I was all in on college basketball. Last year, it started dying down a little. This year, it's just completely dead.
Now, once March rolls around, you bet your ass I'm gonna be sitting on the couch watching every single game that's on TV.
Yeah. That's when the stars.
That's
shine.
when college basketball season starts. Is when the conference tournaments start. That's why I'm like, all right, let's start watching stuff for March. So
exactly.
All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back on probably Sunday morning before the NFL games to talk about the playoff games in college football and the NFL as well, and the Thunder. So we'll be back with you guys then. It's been Unadvised here on the Sports Animal YouTube, Facebook, and right here on X. Follow us at PrestonPool405, at Tyler's Takes, at Unadvised Pod. Till next time, everyone, be safe. Go play out in the snow tomorrow while it's still here before it melts and goes away. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Have a good one.